Oh, hi. Welcome to another Today's Decay, where we celebrate births and beginnings of everything important since the dawn of time. It is January 2nd, and here are all the dates that really rate for today, throughout space and time. Louis here got a bath today, vacuumed, washed the couch covers and everything. It's like a whole new dog, a whole new apartment. What a breath of fresh air, huh? Yeah, he's loving it. Okay. Meanwhile, on this day, 1884, Oscar Michaud was born. Probably pronouncing it wrong. I'm really bad at French. I've come to realize this. African-American filmmaker, author, producer. Really fascinating stuff. And at a time where, he had to carve out his own existence because it was what he wanted to do. Very inspirational. I actually know very little about him, and he's kind of one of those characters that I make a note of go research him, do it. And I didn't do it today, but for the future and for the rest of our lives. Note to self. Decay, born this day, 1896, Russian futurist filmmaker, whom I love his work. Him, his wife, and their partner in filmmaking consider themselves like a extension of a literal machine, a filmmaking machine. The futurists are so weird. I like it, but it's so weird. 1922, little Miriam Wolf was born. I say that because her stardom, she achieved stardom when she was 11 or 12, something like that. She was I don't know if she was an actress or she was specifically a voice actress. She certainly played roles on the radio in 1936, where she played as the old woman who horror hosted horror tales on the radio every week. And I love that it was they cast a little girl to play this cackling lady. So anyway, it was really popular, and this is a tie-in, a magazine tie-in for the radio show. Alonzo Dean Cole here was the mastermind of this, and inside there's nothing on her, sadly. It's not there's no bio or anything like that, but it's all weird tale type stories with really great illustrations. Yeah. Very delicate. Here's a good one, The Madman. Anyway, so yeah, they do these horror radio plays with creaking floorboards and whistling wind and all this sorts of atmosphere. And there was little Miriam Wolf, of her in all her 12 years of life, cackling, introducing these stories and playing them out at the end. I love that. Yeah. 1929, Charles Beaumont was born. Fantastic writer of the fantastic. Any way you want to say it, it all applies. Responsible for many great Twilight Zone episodes. Also a lot of screenplays in the 50s and 60s. Mask the Red Death, a lot of the Edgar Allan Poe, Roger Corman type stuff. 1929, Don Heck was born, a horror illustrator who worked a lot in the pre-code horror comics. Not really, not EC, but stuff that was trying to follow in EC's footsteps, as well as horror comics for Marvel and DC afterwards, from in the 60s and 70s. So clearly he was drawn to the material, or he was drawing the material. Either way. 1963, the Magic Castle opened its doors. I love the Magic Castle. I've been there many times. I don't know with COVID and stuff, what is able to continue or not, whether it's in COVID times or just afterwards. I feel who knows where life will lead us. But for those of you that don't know, the Magic Castle is located in the Hollywood Hills in Los Angeles. It is a Victorian mansion that was opened as a private magician's club with secret passageways and all sorts of large scale stage illusion, smaller scale sleight of hand, everything in between. Lots of rooms that you don't even know that they're necessarily like available to you, and then suddenly, hey, look, there's people lining up, and then like a secret door opens, and here you go in. It's tons of fun. Yeah. I hope to go back one day. I hope it continues forever. On this day, 1965, the TV series Ultra Q premiered. This was like very hard to find in America for the longest time, and I'm very happy to say that a couple of years ago, I don't know, 5-ish years ago, this DVD came out with translations, which is so cool, because before there was like things you could maybe find a couple of copies online, but nothing was translated. And it's like the people that brought you the whole Godzilla series, but doing a Twilight Zone-esque kids show, if that makes sense. So I don't know what more you could want, because that's what you got, and so just make do with what you got, or just really enjoy it, because it's terrific as is. And on this day, 1965, same year, 65. So the same year Ultra Q came out, Simon Brand of Torment was born. I've been a big Torment fan for a long time. In 1998, put out this zine called Zombilly. And I was the first person that I know of, to do like a retrospective on the life of Simon Brand, because he had tragically ended his life a couple of years earlier. So we did like a spread in here, interviewing various people, including Kevin Haynes, the drummer of Torment. And one of the things I particularly enjoy, just like the moment in time when like I was making this, you had Yahoo groups, like email groups, and I guess in hindsight this would basically be like you're hitting reply all to a number of people, all with the same interest, like the topic in mind, but like, so therefore you could receive tons and tons of messages every day if there's a lot of people in the group, right? This is like a reply all nightmare that you would never want to be involved with, like at work or something, I suppose. And yet at the time we didn't know any better, so this was the only way to like get this, like meet other psychobillies from around the world in the 90s, late 90s. So point is, I like copied like blurbs of different people. Like I was like literally just copying and pasting what was in the Yahoo groups, people talking about Torment, and like included in this, because like otherwise it would be lost to time. Not that I thought it would be lost to time then. It felt very important to me, but yeah. So Roy Williams from Nervous Records wrote, "These albums are out of print because we are no longer doing vinyl." Again, this is late 90s. Since this group no longer exists, we do not consider it viable to re-originate for CD. Of course, I guess there weren't, I guess maybe somebody asked him, like, why aren't there CDs of this? Of course, these tracks are licensable for any enterprising organization, and Raucous Records have expressed an interest, ... Aha, aha, maybe one day somebody will consider putting Torment on CD. Jimmy Pike, Satan himself, says, and again, this is like 22 years ago, 23 years ago, every Torment gig I went to was packed. They were one band you didn't want to miss, so I don't think what you heard was true. I don't know. I feel like he's responding to somebody else saying that nobody was ever there. Jens Jansen writes, "The last time we played in Stuttgart, playing at 12 at night on a Sunday evening, playing all songs in a row without a word to the audience and without moving. Bass player facing towards the club's back wall through the whole set. I think they were very good musicians, but very poor entertainers." Okay. Jens Jansen, clearly a tough crowd. Charlie Chester, Manchester, England. You must have just seen them on a bad night. Yeah, I'm like literally copying and pasting clearly like a conversation that like I'm taking it out of an order. So isn't that fun? You must have just seen them on a bad night, Jens. I remember them being very entertaining when I saw them at Clubfoot. Simon Brand was jumping all over the place. I've also seen them do great shows in Portsmouth, Leicester, at the Rumble, and other places. They wouldn't have gotten the following they did if they weren't good live bands. Laz Dolan says, we, the Hangmen, first got news of this in Germany. He's referring to his Simon Brand's suicide. In Germany on tour, when a promoter asked if we could fill the Torment's place at a festival, when it transpired that he'd hanged himself, we wondered if it was a sick joke, but the promoter simply hadn't equated the band name with the situation. Ironically, we were due to support Torment in England on our return also. And then somebody, Chris, I'm not sure what Chris this was because I didn't copy and paste his last name or email. Referring to his suicide. I heard that also a few years ago, and to be honest, it didn't surprise me at all. If you ever spoke to the guy, he was always in a heavy mood, but their music was fucking brilliant. I think they were one of the most exciting bands in the psycho scene in the 80s. However, they hardly moved on stage. The bass player never looked into the audience and was staring straight at the wall every gig. That's two people saying the same thing. Simon Crowfoot, I don't know. These two are their best albums, Cyclops Carnival and Three is a Crowd, are their best. I guess Torment was the one and only band with that kind of sound. He even used some fuzz pedals and disturbing sounds. I guess Frenzy would have been a lot better if he had stayed in the band. Also, you're capturing like internet flame wars at its very beginning, aren't you? Yeah. But things didn't walk that way. He killed himself, and about 6 years later, somebody hears about it. Ain't life brilliant? Yeah, so there you go. If you're around 22 years ago, you can pick up a copy of Zombilly. I'm just giving them away. Yeah. So there you go. January 2nd. From me to you. Till tomorrow. Goodbye.